Hi everyone, my name is Kayla and welcome back to Kay's Hidden Shelf where we talk about books. Today I'm going to share with you my March wrap up, not the TBR or MBR that I'm planning to read this month just yet. That might come a little bit later. I am just a bit behind in my reading due to May being quite chaotic in my personal life and just impacting my reading the way it did. So I haven't been reading as much in May. I'm pushing a lot of the books that I was planning to read then into June, along with some other ones that I'm hoping to fit in as well as I'm starting to feel more myself. So I figured I would take the opportunity to catch up on some of these wrap-ups because wow, I'm behind. And let's just dive in with the books that I read in March. Now, back in the month of March, at the very beginning, I had finished Deadhouse Gates by Stephen Erickson. I've already done a full discussion with this and the others in the read along. If you'd like to watch that discussion, I'll leave a link in the cards and description. We went into full detail on this if you want to hear all of my thoughts. I'll leave it brief here just as we've already gone in depth with it. However, I will say that I loved Deadhouse Gates. Felison's story, the world, the characters all hit a lot better for me compared to Gardens of the Moon. I was able to follow along a little bit better, I believe due to Felison's storyline being a bit more contained. I also felt like there were a lot of pivotal moments in this for Haborek and a few other characters that I was just on the edge of my seat. I absolutely loved this one, and it is going to be a competitor for my favorite one out of the series so far. I've finished House of Chains and I'm on to Midnight Tides. But yeah, this was a fantastic read for me. I had to dive right into the next ones, which was Memories of Ice. Speaking of Memories of Ice, this was my next read in March. Now, I did not finish both of these books in March. Like I said, Deadhouse Gates, I was probably about less than 100 pages towards the end by the time March did start. Again, we've done a full discussion on this, so I'll leave a link in the cards and the description below if you'd like to watch it. All of our thoughts are there, and we get more characters from the first book, and coming back to them was really nice. However, there was so much detail in this that I felt like my head was swimming. I did like the developments, I like some of the things that happened, but this was a really dense one for me. Now, I have heard that this is usually people's favorite out of the series. For me, this one was actually a bit tough. I enjoyed aspects of it. I really liked the characters and the developments we got, but at the same time, I didn't quite enjoy the reading experience itself. I felt frustrated at times, and this very well could have been my perspective going in, as I was trying to keep track of everything to the best of my abilities. So far, I would say this was very well crafted and written, and it felt more like a study for me rather than an enjoyable read. For this reason, I actually didn't like it as much as Gardens of the Moon or Deadhouse Gates, and it's probably my lowest rated one so far for the series. Like I said, it is still great. It has lots of fantastic elements to it, works really well for the story and the crafting. It was just how I walked away from it. It felt dense. I do want to mention that the only place that I tabbed in this has zero importance to the actual series and was an insult from one character to another. I absolutely loved it, and that was one character calling the other a block of cheesy lard. After those two, I read a short story, and that was Priestess of Moonlight by K.E. Andrews. This is an eloquent tale of an imprisoned priestess, a land suffering from famine and plague, and the king who holds the key to all of their fates. This is a beautiful short story depicting a unique priestess, Azel, as she's trapped like a bird in a cage and plotting her escape. Now, the characters have such depth and nuance to them that I actually forgot this was only 34 pages long. Azel's predicament and relationship with the king are compelling. Not only that, but K.E. Andrews also manages to give us a complex theme with captivating world building and history, along with nuanced characters and relationships. This was an easy 5-star read and is a story that will stick with me for some time. If you're looking for a short fantasy that packs a punch and has shifters in it, I would highly recommend checking this one out. After that, I returned to Spokane in the 1900s with Cupboards All Bared by Patricia Meredith. This is book 2 in the Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries, and so far I have to say I have finished the books that are out for the series, which are 3. All of them were 5-star reads, and all of them I binged within a day or two. Now, I did receive this copy in exchange for an honest review from the author, and this was a captivating sequel in the series. Now, this is a self-published historical thriller mystery series. It is set in 1901 and follows the cast of characters we had met in Butcher, Baker, Candlestick, Taker. This was a captivating sequel. From a mysterious death, great character work, and delicious food, this was another binge-worthy read. The story itself picks up 1 month after the events of Butcher, Baker, Candlestick, Taker, and readers are brought back into the lives of the Carreau brothers. When a body is discovered in Hangman Creek, the Carreau brothers investigate what appears to be an accidental fall, though it quickly turns into something bigger than they anticipated. Now, I did find that Cupboards All Bared had a different tone compared to Butcher, Baker, Candlestick, Taker. While the first book was more mystery-oriented, this one had a better balance of mystery along with focus on the characters. I personally love getting to know these characters more, seeing their history, relationship dynamics, and how all of this impacts the story. There were also some new characters to meet along the way, some who were detestable and others who were quite intriguing. Ultimately, this took the characters I enjoyed from the first book and turned them into characters that I love. Patricia Meredith's passion for history and literature is evident within her stories. Creating her stories within historical events, places, and figures while mixing in literary references appropriate for the period. I also can't forget to mention the representation of disability and mental illness. It's done in a way that's appropriate for the time period and also gives a nuanced depth to these characters. Now, I also read the physical book along with the audiobook, and I have to say that the narrator, Rebecca Cook, is phenomenal. She is quickly becoming one of my favorite narrators to date for her ability to capture the characters' personalities. With memorable characters, eerie moments, and intriguing mystery, this was a compelling and easy 5-star read for me. Keeping along with the Merediths, I also read Fourscored by Andrew D. Meredith. This is book 2 in the Needle and Leaf series, and I have a full spoiler-free review video. I'll leave a link in the cards if you'd like to watch that. Now, I did receive an e-arc for this in exchange for an honest review. Joven and Leaf's story continues in this epic sequel. Filled with heart, discovery, and intrigue, Andrew D. Meredith wove a compelling story. Now, Fourscored picks up 13 months after the end of Thrice. It was a captivating read with eloquent storytelling that made it easy for me to fly through the pages. It is without question that Joven and Leaf have become my favorite father-son relationship in fantasy. Their love is evident throughout the pages, and I appreciated the small details that were included to develop their relationship further. The world building felt seamless with the story and explores more of the world, the history, lore, religions, and magic. Seeing more of the magic system in particular added a layer of depth that I wasn't anticipating and left me reeling with the discoveries. Another reason this stood out for me is that the magic system is also developed not only through engaging action scenes, but the characters' developments. Speaking of characters, the cast continues to grow while we see the return of some familiar faces from Thrice. As a result, the main characters' travel and relationships become more complex. I was also surprised by how much development we get for one of the characters. The new potential for their character arc left me wanting more. In terms of pacing, it shifted from medium to fast. The first half of the story felt episodic, with the second half coming together to bring the plot to a head. All of this mixed with the events throughout the story and Andrew D. Meredith's writing, Fourscored was a quick read that was hard to put down. It was also an immersive sequel with plenty of magic, some romance, great action, gut-punching moments, found family high stakes, and mythical creatures set in a fantasy world inspired by Slavic folklore. For me, this was a 4-star read and sets up for book 3. I am very eager to see what happens next in the series. Next, I read Manaborn by A.S. Fredericks, book 1 in the Morrow Legacy series. Now, I did receive an e-arc for this in exchange for an honest review from the author. Manaborn is an impressive start to the Morrow Legacy series, a self-published fantasy filled with magic, mystery, knights, and explores the meaning of honor. Told through multiple points of view, we follow 4 main characters: the Lord Cassian Morrow and his shield knight Robert, After they encounter an unexpected visit from the king, Valerie, a strong-willed teen on the run with her father, and Sir, a noblewoman leaving her life behind to become a knight. While the cover for this initially caught my attention, I was quickly swept away when I started reading. A.S. Fredericks does not hold back on clever story arcs and character development, giving readers a character-driven story with moments of wonder, shock, intrigue, and risks with satisfying payoffs. I can't forget to mention the compelling mysteries that shrouded this story and kept me in suspense. For the main characters, I found each got great development throughout, with complexities between the relationships. There's also an exploration of honor from 4 different perspectives, giving diversity and depth to the topic. As they navigate political tensions, battles, secrets, and dangerous magic, each character is tested in various ways. I also appreciated the representation of PTSD and how well it was done within the story. In terms of the world building, it felt familiar being set in a medieval land, with kings, knights, dukes, and lords. There's also an intriguing magic system that builds beautifully within the story, where individuals are born with the ability to pull, manipulate, and control mana. It's not without its perils. In terms of pacing, I did find that it jumped from fast to medium and back to fast again. From shock, hope, despair, dark, and heartfelt moments, this was a carefully plotted and executed story. Now, I did find a couple of aspects which took me out of the reading experience. The first being a relationship that felt rushed and being built. The second was encountering moments of confusion with the passage of time. Despite this, the characters still felt well developed, their bonds believable, and the conclusion comes together beautifully. Overall, this was a great read with heart, vision, and shows A.S. Fredericks' knack for storytelling. In the end, I give this 4 out of 5 stars. If you enjoy fantasy that has foreshadowing, darker elements, great battle scenes, and intriguing magic, I would highly recommend giving this a try. And that is everything I read in March. I'd love to hear, what did you read back in March? Do any of these sound intriguing? Did you read them as well? If so, what were your thoughts? In terms of upcoming videos, I may just be skipping June's MBR or TBR video. I'd really like to catch up on these wrap-up videos, if anything. And if I do decide to do anything that is TBR or MBR related, I'll definitely be posting updates via these shorts. So keep your eyes peeled for that. As always, thank you so much for watching and take care of yourselves.